Hi, everyone. This is Hal Krosman with Screenwriting U, and today we're going to go over 5 ways AI can improve your TV series. So, this was a controversial subject a couple of years ago. It no longer really is. And it's important that you know that because things are shifting and you want to be ahead of the shifts. So, here's what we're going to talk about today. First, uh, TV writer's room versus a writer with AI. And the reason we're talking about this is because things are starting to change. And again, I'll talk with you a little bit about that. But if you are someone who is living outside Los Angeles, who is not part of any writer's room or any of that kind of thing, it's like you're up against who your competition really is complete writers' rooms of professional people who know what they're doing. And what I want to do is give you the chance to be able to compete with them. That's really what this is about. So we'll give you 5 ways again that AI can improve your writing and improve your TV series that you're writing right now. I'll do a quick demo using AI to create a TV series right in front of you. And then we'll talk about the live class that's coming up. This will be absolutely live. You and I will be working together and talking throughout it. Uh, that's about crafting irresistible TV projects. And that's our objective. If you're coming into this industry, you have a great idea, you want to sell that project, or you want to be able to be part of that project in some way, it needs to be irresistible. So let's do this. First, let's just clear up any potential controversy. What's okay with AI? So I've been interviewing managers recently. I've talked with some people at the studios. The studios aren't using AI. There's a reason why. But the managers, some of their people are. So first, let's talk about the WGA position on this. If you remember back to the strike a long time ago, uh, WGA made an agreement with the studios. This was a big issue. And they said the agreement actually says that the studios can't use AI. That's important. That protects writers. They did a great job on this, and really our whole lives are actually better because of that. But there was another part that's in there that you need to know. They said writers can use AI. It's in the agreement between the WGA and the AMPTP, the producers and studios. It says writers can use AI. Now, why did they put that in there? Because that's important. You got to be asking yourself that. They weren't saying that AI was the total enemy. They were saying the studio using AI against writers was the problem. So it actually says writers can use AI. Talking with the managers I've been interacting with lately, they've been saying that their writers are using it to do some brainstorm sessions. So that's okay, right? This is our position on AI. You're the writer. You make the decisions. You give the story expression. You write description and dialogue, right? So you're the writer. We do not condone using AI to write the script. 2 reasons. First, there'd be no need for you. And really, the second reason, and this is really big, is if you use AI to write your whole script, you can't get a copyright on it. And we know the copyright laws. I've been in multiple meetings with attorneys about this. I've been to the copyright videos and presentations that they've done on AI. So we know exactly what is copyrightable. But what you want to do is use AI to brainstorm and to give feedback because it's faster and it makes you more creative. Now, that's what we're going for. So okay, let's just see how this works. Let's start with a compelling TV series, and you may or may not have liked Succession. It was hugely popular. Every single season had buzz all around it. The writer's room was incredible on it. And let's just start with some things. It was incredibly well thought out. The plot was, they knew what they were doing. They had unique characters that fit the show. They engaged us in a whole series of mysteries and all kinds of intrigue. They had multiple layers that were revealed over time, and a lot of them created all kinds of stirs out on social media. They had surprising reveals, and they had stunning cliffhangers. If you want to become a master at how to write, the last show of every season with the ultimate cliffhanger, go look at theirs. Their finales were just incredible the way they were written. Now, what made this show great was much, much more than dialogue and description. Most people spend all their time focusing on these two when these are the ones you want to focus on. It's this up here that makes your show amazing, that actually causes people in the industry to go, wow, we're going to do this, right? If you're missing all of this, but you have great dialogue, you have zero chance. They might bring you in as a dialogue, somebody who touches up dialogue or something like that. But this is what sells a show. So you need it. Now, where do they go from here? Got a writer's room. This is a fake writer's room, by the way. And all the things we just talked about, they were brainstormed by a whole room full of professional writers, right? They had a showrunner sitting at the end of the table. They knew what they were doing. They'd mapped it out. It was all over the walls. They had hundreds and hundreds of brainstorm sessions with some of the best writers in TV. And the question becomes, can you match that? Many times they brainstorm 20 ways to write one thing or to end a season or to have a cliffhanger at the end of this episode or to put this character in peril. 20 different ways in order to discover the best. Now that's important because most people, when they're writing something on their own, if they've never been in this industry, they have a tendency to write what pops in their head, where the pros are going way beyond that. So how do you compete with that? That's the big question. How do you compete with that? How do you compete with, 6 to 10 people sitting in a room who are all pros, who are brainstorming 20 different ways to do something and coming up with the best? And there's ways you can do it. So first, let's just compare a writer's room to a normal aspiring writer, and you'll see. The writer's room, they're brainstorming 20. We just talked about that. 20 ways to write each one of the key components. The group is thinking outside the box. They're constantly challenging each other to think outside the box. They've got a showrunner there who knows what the show is about, but needs them to think outside the box. And they're getting the beneath the surface parts working before they actually write. So what they've done, like let's say we take an episode, they have gone through, brainstormed everything. They've figured out what's under the surface. They haven't written any dialogue yet. They've got all the intrigue built in. They've got the structure built in. They've got the character journeys built in. They've got 20 different things built in beneath the surface. And then they hand it to a writer who goes and writes it in a couple of days, now that they've got an incredible outline, right? So this thing is designed beforehand to be something that's some of the best TV writing we've ever seen. So this is the writer's room. That's what they're doing. Here's where most aspiring writers are. They're writing what comes to them. Something pops into their head, they add it to their story, and they write it, which is normal. And that's really good for a first draft, by the way. They become committed to an early version that seems to work for them. And then from there, they spend a lot of time on editing and dialogue. So this is the process I hear people tell me all the time. And it's it's okay if you're just learning how to write, but you need to go deeper than that. So let's go back over here. So now let's look at it, writer's room versus aspiring writer and AI. So the writer's room brainstorms 20 to 30 ways. They think outside the box. They get the beneath surface parts working, right? Everything we just talked about, which is, again, what makes that show great. Our aspiring writer, using AI, brainstorms multiple concepts quickly, picks the best one. So we've got the best out of 5 or 10 or 20, whatever it is, right? From there, uses AI to think outside the box in unlimited ways. Every single thing you want, you can brainstorm on AI on that. Then uses AI to generate 10 plus ways to create the characters, the world, the structure. All of that is brainstorming. So it's allowed. It's part of the process. You're still the writer. You're still going to be the one that gives it the expression. It's just you're starting with ideas. Now, if you're worried, just think this. If we go back over here, they've got 10 people working on it. You might have a writer's group who gives you feedback and helps you brainstorm and all of that. That's totally okay. And so is this. It really is. You need to be able to think outside the box. Just don't ask AI to write the script. Two reasons why. First, it's not that good at it. It's good, but it's not that good. And second, if you want to get the copyright, you've got to be the person who writes that. It's got to be your expression. Use AI to brainstorm, but it's got to be your expression. So now let's take a look at the 5 ways it can use AI can improve your writing without it writing for you. So first, you're brainstorming without pain or fear. This is incredibly important. I think the more people are in fear when they're brainstorming, the more likely they shut down quickly. The more likely they don't expand, they just kind of come back and it's just the small things that they're going for. So AI never judges you. That's great. It's like your best friend who's nice. It generates as many answers as you want, and be careful. You want to be careful on this. Too many answers will shut you down. So that there are a few things you want to know about how you deal with AI at that point. And if you just ask the right question, you'll get what you need. This is where people have the big problem. I have people all the time who say, well, I tried AI, but it just gave me a whole bunch of general stuff. And it's like, okay, what was the question you asked? And then it turns out they asked a question that was really general, and it responded in a general way. It's how you create those prompts that makes the difference. So, and I'll show you that in a minute. You can generate multiple versions of anything. Again, that's important. The writer's room came up with 10 to 20 different ways to do almost everything and pick the best. This can give you what's the best characters for this concept. How many ways can I end this episode? Compare different versions to make the very best choice, right? It can surprise you with new ideas and directions. And you can think of it this way. This is still like let's say you had friends that are really up on TV and they know what they're doing. You might be able to pitch your idea to them and they may be able to come up with some new ideas or new directions or ask you what ifs that help and that kind of thing. With AI, you can have it done in seconds. You can do it anytime, 24 hours a day. It presents the answers that you want and other answers that are outside the box. This gives you a chance to start thinking outside the box, and because of that, start creating. outside the box. Uh, it sees your character differently than you do. And by the way, if you know, there's lots of ways to get it to see your character exactly the way you want, but anytime it thinks differently than you do, again, that gives you the chance to think outside the box. Uh, and you get to choose what you like the best, right? You don't, by the way, you don't ever have to take what AI gives you, just so you know. And then number four, it builds a healthy creative perspective. So this is something we've had development teams that have been working with this for a long time. The writers who have gone through those development teams have said they came out of it with this anything is possible perspective and everything is solvable. This is very different than where most people are. Most people are whatever pops into my mind is possible, but I don't have anything beyond that. And they also spend a lot of time, you know, kind of grieving over problems they haven't solved or couldn't solve. So you also, soon as you start doing this, you never get stuck again. Never. There's no reason for anybody to ever be stuck. When somebody says they have writer's block, that just means they haven't yet stepped outside of that pain. We analyzed writer's block inside and out. And what I've noticed so far is we haven't had anybody who has used AI the way we're presenting it that has ever had writer's block since. Not anybody. So, and there's a reason why. You'll see when I get to it. Uh, and it increases your confidence in what you can write, what's really possible for you. It expands that in a big way, and then it just allows you to be able to step into and think in places you haven't thought. Having that ability is going to make you so much more confident as a writer. It's going to make you so much stronger. And then finally, it makes you more creative. And this again, you know, if somebody just goes to AI and they use it in a rote way, I got it. Then they're just going and looking for answers. We don't do it that way. We actually use AI in a way that makes you more creative. It starts to build the processes into your mind. It causes you to be able to see things you'd never seen before and try out things. It also allows you to practice something, to put something in and say, here, let me try this. What would this be? And see where things can go. So your mind naturally over time takes on these kinds of creative processes. And I'm serious. We started brainstorming this working with a development team about 18 months ago. I've had like 6 different development teams that have worked on our different AI stuff. Every single one of them have said over time they started taking on those creative processes. They started thinking outside the box 10 times as much. And they lost any fear they had about whether they could create, you know, or what was possible for them. So every problem naturally leads to multiple solutions. This is how you want to be thinking as a creator. Right? You want to know that anything that you're trying to create, you can not only solve it, but solve it in the most interesting way possible and be able to do something absolutely amazing with it. And that is not only absolutely possible, if you know what you're doing, it is probable. So just a second here. I'm sorry. There we go. So let me just walk you through this real fast. I want to show you something and give you a quick demonstration how this works. I'm sure many of you have already been over here. This is ChatGPT. You know, when we started a year and a half ago, people had no idea what it was. My guess is you've used it at work, you've used it at home, you've used it to brainstorm other things besides stories. Some of you have probably already tried it out to create, you know, ideas for screenplays and that kind of thing. What I'm going to do, I just want to walk through and show you how you might brainstorm a project. So let's start here. So this is something that again, the more you do it, the easier it gets, and just look how incredibly fast it is. So what I ask it for, I gave it an idea here. I said I've got a 1-hour sci-fi thriller. The subject, and this is the way we're starting this. You could just have any kind of idea. Space station explodes, causing a time loop where the captain's wife lives her own death many times before discovering that her husband just was the one who destroyed the ship, right? So I ask it to give me 5 different versions of that, all that are unique, something we haven't seen. And just this can shift things for you. Because, and I'll take this last one. Because being able to take the idea that you have and look at it from 5 different perspectives, 5 different possible concepts, can change everything, right? Instead of just writing the first thing that pops into your mind, you have so many different possibilities, and you just go through and pick something that works for you. And by the way, you may look at these and go, oh, I really like this part, but I'd like to add this as the ending or something like that. There's all kinds of ways that you can work with it. But to start with, I'm generating 5 different ideas that haven't been seen on TV. And that in itself gives me a better chance. Now, from there, let's take it a step further. So now I'm working with the last one, the last sequence. And you'll see it's got the title. Then I'm asking it to tell me the surface. What's the surface story of the series? Then what's a surprising twist? What's an intriguing conflict that could be going on under the surface? And to give me a deeper layer. So what I'm doing is I'm fleshing out the concept here and looking for different ways to think about it. Now, if you, at this point, think, okay, I like some of these things, but not really others, then you just simply modify the question, put it in there, and go to the next stage. Now, with that, let's go just a little further here. So now I want to have it generate some possible intriguing worlds, especially if you're talking sci-fi. The level at which the world is intriguing is important, but pretty much almost any other genre, if you have an intriguing subworld, that gives you so much more to explore in a TV series. So here's a version, subworld, the Hollow Catacombs. Okay. Echo Bay, a subworld. Interesting. A quantum echo chamber. The Bone Deck. Now home to the Scavengers. All right. This is gothic sci-fi horror, kind of like that. Subworld, the Glass Spine. So this has a glass spine, interesting, and the Seed Vault. So let's go back. Let's use this one, the Echo Bay. That was kind of fun. Just a moment. And with that, so we're making choices. This is the other thing for you to notice at this point. As we're going through, it's generating a whole bunch of ideas, but we're making choices and getting this down to exactly what we want it to be. Now we're going to look at some characters for this project. So this was the Echo Bay one that I chose just a moment ago. So we start with our commander. So this is really our protagonist. You see that right here. This is the protagonist, the station security chief. Remember, this is a space station that got blown up that then turned into a time loop, and this person is reliving their death. But we've got what's their unique purpose and expertise? What are their traits? What are their wounds? What's their motivation, their want and need? What's their internal dilemma? So that's enough for me to start this. Now, my actual in our further classes, like if you're in Bingeworthy or something like this, our character prompts are about, our excuse me, our character profiles are about twice this much. But this is enough for me to be able to look at it and say, okay, is that the character I want? Do I want to change things? Do I want to add things? And by the way, this character is disciplined, intuitive, loyal, but emotionally detached. Is that all? Is she detached? Is she damaged? Does she have some kind of weird quirk that has her doing things that she has to overcome along the way? There's what's the negative on that, right? So I would go through every one of these and really consider them and start thinking about them and asking the questions and adding my own creativity as we're going. But here's the protagonist. Then we have the antagonist, right? Another character involved. This is another protagonist in the show. Oh, and here's the antagonist. Sorry, uh, and every one of them fit what your concept is, what your story is about, what your show is going to be about over time. I want to show you a couple more things here, just because what we have here is absolutely amazing for what it can create. So I want you to be able to see it. So you know what's possible. So now I'm taking those characters, that situation, the show concept that we said yes to, and I'm having it give me a pilot. So this is this structure for the 5 acts of the pilot. Starts with the teaser, the voice that shouldn't exist. I like that. Then act 1, the echo assignment. Act 2, voices to the future. Wow. Act 3, act 4, and finally act 5, ending with a cliffhanger. So this would be a version of a pilot. Now, let me tell you my experience of this, what this has been. I'll brainstorm something using this set of prompts, come up with this. I'll get to this point, and about half of it is really good. A quarter of it is absolutely amazing. And what I'll do in that case is I'll take all of this, move it over to another document, mark out everything I don't like, right, which leaves about half of it, and then I'll go through just that half and see what do I think is absolutely amazing. That's what I keep. And then I brainstorm the rest, right? And it's like, it's designed for this. It's designed for you to be able to look and go, oh, wow, I really like this, but I don't like, let's say this. I really don't like this. I'd rather have it be another character who's doing this. I'd rather have it be more than just a possible murder. I'd rather have it be, the whole ship got blown up. So there's that, that. And I just start brainstorming and working with it. And what you'll find out is when you've got all of this already available, you can brainstorm so much easier. I mean, you can look at any midpoint and go, okay, hang on. I kind of like what it did, but let me take it to a different place. What if I did this with it, right? And start thinking outside the box, bring your creativity to the table. By the time you're done, you have a pilot that came from you that all you did was use AI to brainstorm in the beginning. It's just you need the high level prompts to be able to do this. Let me just take it one more step for you so you can see what's really possible here. Because again, I believe the more you have in the beginning the easier it is that once you've settled on it, the easier it is for you to be able to create and flow. That whole thing of just looking at a blank page is just not necessary anymore. So here I ask it to give us an entire season of episodes, right? And in each case, they're telling me what's the teaser, what's the main character journey for this episode, right? What's the midpoint, what's the cliffhanger. Uh, I have a pretty good idea of how that might work. And again, this is about me brainstorming, using this as a starting point. So here's episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I ask it for 8. If you want 13, you can ask it for 13, whatever it is that you need. This gives you a chance now as you're writing, when we go back to the pilot, as you're writing the pilot, you at least have a good idea of where the first season's going to go. So you know the things you now need to set up. You can play and create at a completely different level. Now, we have another prompt besides all of this. Once you've done a little bit of work with it, we have a prompt that'll give you feedback that is very specific, detailed, and to the point of exactly what you need in order to be able to make it something truly amazing. So just a moment here. Yeah. So this is the class. And this is going to be a live class, right? It's live. We're doing it, you and I, just like right now. The only difference is at the end of each prompt, you're going to be able to use it with the AI. I'll give you these high-level prompts that get results. You've already seen what kind of results they get. I know you didn't get a chance to really look at it or think about it, but I promise you, this will get you what you need to be able to start writing at an incredible level. You'll be in the workshop. We'll be doing it live. This will be 2 Saturdays from now. April 26th. We'll start at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So it'll be just like right now, except you're going to bring in your next project idea, and you can start with as little as just kind of a subject. I have this, this thing popped into my mind and I'd love to use it. Just whatever it is, just bring in some kind of project idea. If you're coming in with something that you've already written, be willing to think way outside the box, and just see how far you can go. How far can you, how much different can you make it? And by the way, yes, you can use these to brainstorm other ways to make that particular project better. If possible, bring in something new so you don't have any boundaries around it. Then the way we'll learn, I'll give a clear explanation of every step so you know exactly what you're doing. I'll then do a demonstration with that specific step and explain it in detail. Then I will give you the prompt and you will apply it to your project now, right now, while we're there. You'll do it live. And then at that point, after you've applied it to your project, then we'll have live Q&A. That way you've been through, you've learned how to use this prompt, you've actually used it, and anything that you need to know or understand, I'm there to make sure you understand it. Now, all of these prompts we developed. These didn't come from anybody else. This stuff isn't out there in the stream. It isn't available to the world anyplace else. It's all stuff that came from the development teams that we used. We have tested these. In many cases, we have created 20 different versions of them to get to where we have something that can make your project absolutely astounding. I'll tell you about the, let me just walk you through what the prompts are so it's really clear. Here we go. First one is how to make sure you have a high concept for your TV series. This is the first decision that most people completely blow. They have something average, they have something we've already seen before, Our objective is for you to be able to come in with something unique that hasn't been on television that will surprise whoever you're talking to. If you're pitching to a producer, if you are pitching to a funding source, if you're pitching to a studio or whatever it is, or even a manager. From there, with that high concept, you go to creating an intriguing world because this allows you to explore for season after season after season, and it engages the curiosity of your viewers, right? Plus, when a producer sees an intriguing world, they automatically go, wow, I may be able to sell that. So from there, then we go to pilot structure. Uh, Actually, I think we're going to go to characters. Let's just see. Yeah, you're going to go to characters. So pilot structure means you saw what I did. I created a complete pilot structure, a 5-act structure with a teaser in the beginning and a cliffhanger at the end. That is exactly what they need. So you'll be coming in with an amazing structure when you go to pitch your project. Then the compelling characters. So the objective on these characters wasn't just to have average characters that, which is what a lot of times people create. It's to have characters that anybody who looked at them would say, oh my God, we could easily get actors to play those roles. And from there, then you'll create a season of episodes. You'll do this while in the program on Saturday. And finally, I'll give you a prompt. Once you've got all of that done and you've made some choices and all of that kind of thing, I'll give you a prompt that's specifically designed to give high quality feedback on every one of these. Now, what this does, let's be clear, it's going to save you hundreds of hours of confusion and trying to figure out things and all of that kind of thing. And it'll get you right to the point where you're writing. It'll give you exactly what you need to be able to see, here's what my whole season looks like. Therefore, when I go back and write this pilot, I understand what it is. I know who these characters are. I know what makes them compelling, what makes them intriguing, what makes them incredibly interesting. I know what this world is and what makes it compelling and intriguing. So both of these can build in some serious surprises. Also, you can build in those same surprises inside your structure. So this gives you essentially well, you saw, I just did it in 15 minutes. What would take me 3 to 4 weeks to be able to brainstorm, and it may not have been brainstormed after 3 to 4 weeks half as good as what we end up with on this, And again, it's not because the AI solved everything. It's because this is a creative tool. This gives you exactly what you need to be able to create at twice the level, to be able to think completely outside the box, and to be able to do it with no fear, with no pain, with no confusion, right? And end up with something pretty amazing. On top of that, let me say one other thing. The further we progress, the more people in the industry are already using this. So if you want to be truly great, you should master this. Now, the normal price on it is $99. Here's the link. Just write this down real fast. bit.ly, bit.ly, /SU, as in screenwriting U, dash TV dash projects. There's an S on the end of that because you're not just going to create one project with this. After this, once you do it once, you'll go, oh my God, I can do anything. And you'll create multiple projects with this. So that's why the S. Special on this. This one, since we're doing it live, I usually don't give specials. I'm going to be working with you. We're probably going to spend 4 to 5 hours that day going through every step of this and making sure that you really are a master at it. So the special on it is $79. Right now you can get in $79. That'll save you 20. We're going to limit this class to probably in the neighborhood of 50 people. This is the first time that I've promoted it, but the last two times we've done a class like this, not at this level, but like this, uh, we had on one of them we had over 100, the other one we had like 75. So make sure that you get in early and get in with the special. Once we hit 20 people, the normal price will be applying from that point on. So again, all you got to do, take this link, put it in your browser where you normally put a web address, click return, and come join us. Start brainstorming ideas. When you come in on Saturday, April 26th, from the moment you get there, once I do just the first 10 minutes of introduction, we will start working with your project. And this isn't, I'm not going to be doing script consulting on every single person's project. What I will be doing is I'll be answering questions and making sure that you master every single one of these. Because if I just solve your project, what will happen is you'll walk out and then you'll go, oh, I can't do the next one. I want you to be able to use this on every project from this point on. So our objective is to make sure when we work with this one, you know exactly what it takes to create a high concept. You know exactly what it takes to create an intriguing world, right? Every single one of these, by the time we're done, they are going to be the easiest things you ever did. And they will make you incredibly creative over time. So come join us. This is, my guarantee, by the way, is this. If you don't like it by the end of 15 minutes, just let me know. You can exit. By the time we give you the first prompt, if you don't like it, let me know. You can exit and we will give you your money back. We take really good care of writers, and I want you to come out of this being somebody who has a real chance of making things happen for your writing. So with that, listen, it was great hanging out with you guys. I went through this really fast. I just wanted you to be able to, see it so that you had a chance to make this decision. If it's something you want to do, I promise you, this will take everything you do as a writer to a completely new level that is beyond anything you've ever created before. And it will make you so much more creative and give you such a better chance to become truly successful in this industry. So with that, this is Hal Krosman with Screenwriting U, wishing you the absolute best. And I can't wait to work with you in the class. Bye-bye, everyone.